y... Ay, no joda. Me cago. Marico, ¿qué es este juego? Este juego es demasiado... ¿Qué es esto? ¿Ah? ¡Ah! Está todo oscuro. Se escucha feo. Ay, no, esto no me gusta.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty.
Ay,
Was it
no.
over?
¿Qué es esto? Marico.
He had won. He had
Marico.
defeated the machine.
Hello, my little niggas. Skar reportándoles. Y estamos aquí en otro Little Bit Random. Y vamos a jugar The Stanley. The Stanley. No puedo pronunciarlo bien. The Stanley Parable. La parábola de Stanley. Este juego lo han recomendado bastante porque el que es burda de bizarro, no sabes qué coño hacer. Vamos a empezar a jugarlo. Let's go, baby, let's go. The end is never then. El final es nunca. Por eso es que dicen que este juego es algo... O sea, es una vaina de otro mundo. Por lo que he escuchado en los comentarios. El Rubius lo anda jugando por ahí.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Esta es la historia de un hombre llamado Stanley.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Stanley era feliz.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite
Ay,
forget.
es cierto, estaba demasiado...
He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Ok. Es cierto lo que dicen. La voz del carajo que narra es
All of his
demasiado...
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
La voz del carajo que narra es demasiado, no sé, es demasiado tétrica. Está haciendo es Half-Life. Ay, Dios. Tengo que ir a buscar un memo. No sé si hacerle caso al
When
carajo.
Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
La puerta izquierda. La izquierda. ¿Y si entra por la derecha? No, esa por el huevo. Yo voy a entrar por la izquierda. Ajá. ¿Y a dónde voy? Hola.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ok. Vamos a la... ¡Ah! Joder. Yo no entiendo mucho inglés. Ay, mira, cada vez que le doy clic cambia. Everyone, cada uno es único. Oh, mira, parecen how. Joder. Run. Ay, lo abrí. Joder, tío.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Ah, ok. Es que también puedo abrir las puertas.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
No, yo voy a caminar hacia arriba porque vi lo que le pasó al Rubio. Y... no quiero que me pase lo mismo. Esta puerta no la puedo abrir. Vamos a buscar al jefe, al jefe. Esa puerta lo que dan es mío. Baño ejecutivo. Y si tengo que anemia, ¿cómo hago? No joda. Este carajo no corre. Es demasiado lento. Y si me voy por aquí, esta tampoco abre. Ok, tantos escritorios.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2845. 2. Y si pongo 2588.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Y 66666. El diablo.
Stanley simply 2845.
El carajo se está tirando. Vamos a poner 2, 8, 4, 1.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
El carajo se tiró. Y si yo pongo 2, 8, 4, 5. ¡Ah! Ah, maldita sea, qué divertido hace tina este carajo. Ay, Dios mío, ¿qué hay para acá? Bajemos. Mierda. ¿Dónde estoy? Ay, loading. Oh my god. ¿Dónde me llevaron? Qué risa como ese carajo se está obstinando, ¿verdad?
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Ok, vamos a ver qué pasa con Stanley.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
¿Qué es aquí? Escape. Joder. Puedo escaparme o puedo ir para allá. De ti, marita, estaba pingueco, que no me acredita, fue esto, otra perdón. Escape. Bueno, para escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
con su violenta muerte. O sea, si sigo, me voy a morir. O sea, me devuelvo. Y yo no quiero morir. ¿O sí? ¿O no? ¿Y si es mentira? Y vamos a darnos la vuelta.
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
Ah, pues, y si yo me quiero devolver, no joda.
Nope, still on board with death.
Ah, sea marico, yo me devuelvo. Ok. Si el carajo nos advierte que ahí está la muerte, es porque ahí está la muerte. Ok.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Me hubiese ido por la muerte. Esta vaina es demasiado, no sé, demasiado creepy. What the fuck, mira, y no puedo brincar. Quiero brincar. Ok.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Ajá, ok. Me hubiese ido por la vaina de la muerte.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
¿A dónde me llevan? ¿A dónde me llevan? Tengo
But here
miedo.
was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad
Oh, miedo.
or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Oh, miedo. No, yo no quiero desmantelar nada. Yo lo que me quiero es ir. Me quiero ir. Si yo le doy a este botón, ¿qué pasa? No pasa nada. Ah, ya. Ah, no, ya me quiero ir. Ya me quiero ir. Me quiero seguir jugando. Adiós, adiós. ¿Qué? ¿Qué es esto? ¿Un 5? What the fuck? Control mental está esperando por yo no sé qué verga.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Ok. ¿Puedo darle sí o no? Si yo le doy no, off, on, todo. De ti, marido, vengo de que no me querés de después de todo lo perro pedido, perdón, menos el tuyo, perro, con. No, es que no, me da miedo darle a encender y... Ay, no joda. Me cago. Marico, ¿qué es este juego? Este juego es demasiado... ¿Qué es esto? ¿Ah? ¡Ah! Está todo oscuro. Se escucha feo. Ay, no, esto no me gusta.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty.
Ay,
Was it
no.
over?
¿Qué es esto? Marico.
He had won. He had
Marico.
defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet,
Marico.
even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as
Ok, caminamos.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
¿Qué? ¿Qué? Ajá, y fui feliz y ya. ¿Qué? ¿Eso fue todo? No me jodas. En serio, no me jodas. No, me la vas a mamar. Me lo vas a... ¿Qué? O sea, eso fue todo. Me lo
All of his co-workers
mamáis.
were gone. What could it mean?
Me lo
Stanley decided to go to the
mamáis.
meeting room. Perhaps
Me
he'll
lo
simply Mr. Money.
mamáis. Marico, no, no. O sea, no. O sea, no. Yo voy a dejar esto hasta aquí, en serio, ya tengo la mente súper jodida. Si quieren más videos de Stanley Parable, díganlo y subiré una serie de estos y veremos cuántos finales fuqueamentes tiene este juego. Y al menos me fui por el final feliz. Dale al like si te gusta, suscríbete y nos vemos en el siguiente Little Bit Random. Skar reportándoles por Next Gen Venezuela. Goodbye. Deja de hablarme, maldito. Deja de hablarme.